our dear viewers, and welcome to a new edition of Body and Soul. In today's edition, we are going to talk about a very interesting topic, which is words. To what extent our words could tell about our personality? To what extent I can know a person from what he is saying? Does the word is a reflection of what's inside him, as the eyes are the reflection of what's going on in our soul? To what extent the words are representing a real reflection to what's going on in our minds? That, of course, is a very interesting topic. Outside of high school English class, most people don't give much thought to pronouns, prepositions, articles, auxiliary verbs, and other function of words. They seem to be no more than fillers for our more important contents, which are words. The who, what, where, and why of the language. But it turns out that our use of these invisible words has psychological significance, which is a very important thing in our lives. To shed more light, we have the following report by Samah al-Sharif.
If the eyes are the window to the soul, then words are the gateway to the mind. Words represent thoughts. The closest one person can get to understanding another person's thoughts is to listen to the words that he or she speaks or writes. Certain words reflect the behavioral characteristics of the person who spoke or wrote them. One researcher labeled these words as word clues. Word clues increase the probability of predicting the behavioral characteristics of people by analyzing the words they choose when they speak or write. Word clues alone cannot determine a person's traits, but they do provide insights into a person's thought process and behavioral characteristics. Reflecting on this notion in online blogging, a new study has found that whatever online persona you may have chosen to adopt in your blog, your deepest personality traits may be given away by your choice of words. The specific words bloggers use relate to which of the big 5 personality factors dominates in that person. These factors are openness, conscientiousness, extroversion, agreeableness, and neuroticism. Agreeable people happily repeat wonderful together, visiting, morning and spring, while the conscientious made sure to reiterate completed, adventure, stupid, boring, and adventures. For open types, folk, humans, off, poet, and art appeared most often. The results suggest we cannot completely separate our online and offline selves.
Welcome back, our dear viewers, as we have started our episode by talking about the topic of today's edition of our program, which is about the words. To what extent the words are a reflection of what's inside our minds, of what our soul. To what extent I can judge a person from what he is saying, from his words. That would be our topic for discussion for today with our dear guest in the studio, Dr. Ines Gazzar. She is a homeopath, a life coach, and soft skills trainer. Hello, Dr. Ines.
Hello, hello.
Dr. Ines, to what extent it's right that I can know you from your words? I can know your character from what you are saying?
To an extent. Not so big, not so small, but it needs expertise, and those who learn about that and practice it more than normal people, than ordinary people. You cannot know that in a normal way, except you are talented. Some people are talented in doing this, but it's a whole science you need to study, and it's endless studying.
Dr. Ines, some people, maybe they are not always saying the truth, or their words are not a real reflection of what's inside them. How can I know that? How can I judge that the person in front of me is telling the truth? Is that with eye contact, or from the way he is saying his words, or from his conversation? How I can judge?
Okay. Again, the word judging is a bit big.
Big, yes.
Yes. So let's say, how do I know? Or acknowledge what's in front of me. Telling lies, if he's an expert person, telling lies, ordinary people will never know about that. There are some expertise in lying. You will never discover them.
It's quite bad.
Yeah, but if they are not so experts, so you can find out by, okay, I'll tell you some physical symptoms. Blinking a lot, okay? Their skin blushes, cheeks are blushing, or getting yellowish. Because when they lie, it's stressful for them if they are not expertise in lying. So they did not get used to tell lies. But if it's first times to lie, or first times to tell lies, it will be very stressful. So stress causes adrenaline to be released. This causes some symptoms. Heart beats increases, heart rate, breathing will be heavy and speedy. They always place barriers between you and them. Okay, they never get fully exposed to you or with open arms, or they just get closed in some areas or protect some areas in their bodies. Okay, eyebrows come up.
If the person is not saying the truth.
Yeah, some people get their fingers on their nose or mouth, or they touch some places in their bodies.
So let me stop here because of the body language. Does it also a reflection with the words, or it's a combination by words and body language? I could know the character of the person in front of me.
But let me continue in that point, because there is a science called neuro-linguistic programming. They say, some people are distracting this theory, but they say when you tell a lie, if you are a right-handed people, from a right-handed people, so your left mind is dominating. If those people are telling lies, so they are imagining a story. So their eyes tend to be looking at their the other side. Okay, they look at their right side. This is an imaginary area. If they are looking to their left side, they are recalling a memory from the past which happened in their minds. Okay, this is how the body talks about the liar. Their words, when you talk about the words, they get into so many details, repeating the details much more times to give themselves time to originate and elaborate on their imagination and to distract your attention. They try to convince you by repeating and repeating again. Somehow they have difficulty in speaking, stuttering and stammering and such things. But again, this is for the non-expertise in lying.
The expertise would be very difficult for a normal person to recognize.
They become very relaxed when talking, when telling lies. This is their comfort zone. Yeah, it's a comfort zone for them.
Studies and professionals in certain fields, Dr. Ines, stress that the choice of words speak the personality traits. Do you agree with that?
Yes. Yes,
How?
to an extent. Okay. If the personality types or traits are classified according to the science of studying humanities, there are so many classifications. One of them is classifying people on the factor of how do they receive information. Okay, so we are four kinds. Visual, the visuals. They are very fast in acting and reacting and talking, and they distract you while talking. Okay, they depend on their images. They imagine images while you are talking to understand what's going on.
Your mind.
So when they talk, they tell you, "I see that. Look, Mom, I cannot imagine what you are talking about." So these are the kinds of words they use. When we talk about the second type, it's called auditory type, the A type. Auditory type depends on their ears, not the eyes. When they depend on their ears, they listen to you very well. They analyze what you're saying. They are just like recording every single word you are saying. And when they repeat what you said, they repeat it as if they were recording for you to the extent that you get amazed.
Yeah.
They are very good analyzers. They don't talk a lot. And when they talk, they say, I hear, listen, and they never distract you
while talking.
This is the second type. The third type is the kinesthetics or the movers. They never listen. They just do. When you talk to them, they don't look at your eyes. They never listen as the other types. They are very fast in reacting by movement. And when we have kids like that, we say they have difficulties in learning. Yes, in learning our education. But
so it's not considered a difficulty in learning.
No, they have their way to get educated and to understand what's going on. They are movers. They will rock in, for example, in acting, in playing, in being athletes. Okay, this is the kind of kinesthetic. They depend on their muscles, the big muscles, to understand and to react to what they understood from you. The fourth type is the tactiles. They are sensitive people. They learn by touching, by the fine motors of their fingers and toes and such things. They work very amazingly in kinds of making jewelries, mending watches, the very small and tiny things they can work at that. So when they talk, they say, I feel, I felt, it was sensing, and their rate of reaction is very slow. Again, the visuals are fast, the auditory are slower than the visuals, the kinesthetic are the fastest of all.
Indeed.
And then the tactiles are the slowest of them all. We have all the four inside us, but one dominates the other because, again, of genes, of the environment surrounding us that supports things and inhibits the other things. This, when we talk about the VAC system, the VAC system. If we talk about others, like MBTI classification, for example, it has, again, four factors, depend on the four fields. If we talk about from where do they get their energies? If they get their energies from outside, so they are extroverts. If they take it from inside themselves, they are introverts.
Introverts, yeah.
So what do you think the extroverts, when they talk, they use which words? They use we, let's,
okay.
shall we? Okay, he wants to be in a gathering all the time. When we talk about the introvert, he says, I. Let me alone. Okay, don't disturb me a lot. This is an introvert.
He wants to be in his close circle.
He takes his energy from this. Of course, we are not this or that. We are scales in between. Okay, we are not talking about the extremes.
Yeah, of course.
If it comes
the
to
normal segment here.
Yeah. If we talk about the other point is how do they organize world around us? People are judges and perceivers. Okay. If we talk about the perceiver, he is just the person who, when it comes to his mind and idea, he just goes and do it without thinking about the circumstances or the consequences or the planning. He wants to go from a place to another. He wants to get new things. When you take a look at his cupboard, you can see the chaos itself. Everything is there around. The judges are the opposite. They are tidy, they are organized, they need to plan every single detail in their lives. So what do you think the perceivers will use in their words? Let's, shall we, yes, hooray, okay. He is always having this kind of energy translated in his words. When it comes
enthusiastic.
Yeah, very much. When you talk about the judges, okay, let's see. Give me a time to think. No, this is very Motivating. I cannot do this for now. Oh, I did not plan for that. I'm not ready. So they are those people who needs to be their lives to be planned, and we have both in ourselves, but some dominates others.
Yeah.
Both are very important in life. The other one is when you talk about feelers and thinkers. Feelers express themselves as, I feel, this makes me happy, this makes me sad, I like that, I don't like that. When it comes to the thinkers, okay, let's talk about advantages and disadvantages. Let's have it as pros and cons. Let's think about it. Give me time to think, to process, and to give you my analysis at the end to take a decision. Okay? If we talk about the fourth factor, which is being intuitive or sensitive, when they talk about their feelings, the intuitive, they say, I have a gut feeling talking about something. I guess it will be raining tomorrow. Did you know that? Did you hear about that in the news? No. From where did you get your information? I just feel it. We can't see people like that.
Indeed.
But when it comes to sensors, or sensing people, they never talk without using their five senses. I see, I hear, I taste, I touched, and I smelled something. So these are sensing people. This is about only two classifications.
Dr. Ines, to what extent it is important to identify the character or quickly identify the character of the people around us?
To what, again, please, the question?
Is it important to identify the character of the people around us, to be aware of the real characteristics through the words and through the way of talking?
Good question. I think if you take this in your life as a real scenario in every detail in your life, you will be, I think this will be a burden.
Indeed, yes.
It will be so annoying to do that. But in some cases, you have to do that. In interviews, for example, for the HR, for example, when you are hiring something in a team, you need some characters to be there and some characters not to be there. So why do we know that this piece of information? Not to judge people. It's to know what are the bright sides of their personalities and what are the their personalities. To know how to deal with people, not to judge them and to criticize them, because each one of us has both bright sides and dark sides. As you know, God says in His holy book, وَلَقَدْ جَعَلْنَاكُمْ شُعُوبًا وَقَبَائِلَ لِتَعَارَفُوا. We made you as nations and tribes, not to judge, to know each other, to get integrated together, because I have this and that, and you have this and that, so we can integrate together to form better system.
Indeed. And we are joined over the phone by Dr. Marwa Saleh. She is a linguistic programmer. Dr. Marwa?
Yes, hello.
Hello, how are you?
I'm fine, how are you?
I'm fine. Dr. Marwa, to what extent I can judge the person in front of me from his words and from his way of talking?
Of course, and as you just said, in neuro-linguistic programming, we classify people using mainly three different categories. So people are either auditory, visual, or kinesthetics. The auditories, they rely more on listening. So if you're talking to someone and he's more of a listener, he's structured, he thinks in terms of planning and patterns, then that person will not rely on visuals a lot.
Yes.
So you'd rather address that person in their own way of talking, in their own way of speech. Visuals, on the contrary, are people who are very active, who rely on looking at images. So when you're teaching someone who's visual, you'd rather use a lot of visual aids, a lot of tools, and be quite appealing and attention-grabbing to that person.
Indeed.
And then kinesthetics are people who rely more on the touch, on holding things, on using tools to display their messages and the things that they want to convey. So if you understand the different patterns of people, you would be able to communicate with them easier. And from the way they talk, you can guess whether they're this kind or that kind, and then you can get to them and make sure that you communicate them easier.
Yes. Dr. Marwa, to what extent the choice of certain words could tell us about the person's characteristic?
Of course. Well, people use different patterns and different words. So from the words that people speak, from the words that they say, you can get to know a little bit about their character, a little bit about what they like. You will find people repeating certain words, for example. So if people repeat patterns, or they have patterns when they talk, if you pick those words that they use a lot, it would tell you a lot about the character.
What is the most situation which could need the use of words, in which the use of words could be important to get out of certain situation or to cope in a certain position or field?
Yeah, well, I would say that the use of words is important at all times. But maybe when you're in a tough situation, when you're disagreeing with someone, or where there's a little bit of an argument, if you just hold your words a little bit and listen more to the person in front of you, you would find them repeating certain patterns during an argument, and those words would tell you where their insecurities are coming from, whether they have certain fears, and that's why you're arguing and you're getting into that kind of fight. So if you listen to the words that people are saying during disagreements or arguments, it would help you solve the situation and sort it out and understand more why that person is disagreeing with you.
Okay, Dr. Marwa Saleh, our linguistic programmer, thank you very much for your precious input. And back to our dear guest in the studio, Dr. Ines. Dr. Ines, to what extent also I can rely on knowing the character of my kid, who or his experience in school from using his words or from listening to what he's saying?
To know him?
To know about his character, about how he was influenced by his peers, to what extent he's influenced by his teachers, or the whole thing.
Okay. Of course, mothers or fathers, if they are close to their kids, they can know which type of kids they are. Especially if they studied that as they're taking parenting courses, to know the advantages and disadvantages of this character. If his kid is jumping into his mouth, in distracting his speech always, so he is a visual. If you ask him about what happened today in the school, he says this and that and this and that and this and that, and teacher said me, and see the colors, Mom, and you can see the colors over his face, actually.
We do see that a lot, actually.
Yeah, if you say or ask the same question to an auditory kid, he will say, how was your day? You will say, how's your day? How's your day?
It was okay.
Say something. And we can see kids like that. Okay, these are analyzers. They are thinkers. And when they talk, they will tell you, okay. If you ask him in more details, he will tell you, okay, the line was, first of the day, the bus. Then, the line. Second, our first period. Then, the second period. Then, his mind is really arranged in that way, as an Excel sheet. If you are having a mover kid or a kinesthetic kid, he will not listen to your question. He will just jump and play around all the way, and these kids are really exhausting for their mothers. So they need to be practicing a lot, going to so many trainings, swimming, wrestling, football playing, ballet if she's a girl, or gymnastics or something like that, because this is the way they express whatever they're. Some of them, when you ask their teachers in parenting meetings about the kid, she will tell you, he's a nightmare. I cannot concentrate while this kid is at the class. Okay. When you ask him, does he respond? Yes. He always tells the right answer. And this is amazing. But some kids their concentration is less than that. If you talk about the tactile student or kid, you cannot say a lot. You just go and take him on your lap, hugging him a lot, touching his skin a lot, and say, I love you so much. would you like to tell me what happened today in the school? That's why, this is the way he reacts and responds with you.
Dr. Ines, for parents, how would the children's choice of words could tell also about their character? Not only how they say it, but sometimes they can tell about their experience at school from their choice of words about their peers, about their teachers. How I can tell about his characters and his experience in school, because sometimes as a parent I want to know more about his day in school, for example. Is that possible?
It is possible, but okay, with your kids, do not ask open questions. Don't give it to the open question. What happened in the Arabic class? What happened in the English class? And such things, okay? Then when he talk about, you know, nowadays they are very affected by the social media expressions.
Indeed.
They tell you, meh. They tell you, without giving a word. Okay, it's their emotional expressions.
Yeah.
If you ask him about the teacher of English, for example, yeah, I like her so much, so you can understand that he is a sensitive, a feeler one. But if he talks about, I think this teacher needs to be improved in her performance, so this is a thinker, he's an analyzer, he's not an emotional one.
Indeed, Dr. Ines Ghazar, our life coach and soft skills trainer and homeopath, thank you very much for your precious input. And with that, our dear viewers, we come to the end of this edition of Body and Soul. Hope you enjoyed it. Until we meet again, I'm Rabia Sandigo.